Ooh, did you see it? Who watched it? Who watched the hearing? Who watched? Who watched? Anybody? Ooh, girls. Girls and boys. Mm-mm-mm. Who watched it? Ooh, girl. Girl. Oh my God. You've been in lives every day. You're in my life every day, Yallah. I know. I've had a lot of lives. I do enjoy them, though. It's super fun for me. So when it's not fun, I'll let you know. You watched. So you got to see face front. And I got to see side view and back. But you have an echo every day. I have an echo every day. I don't know why. I'll speak closer. It may be because I don't have anything on my desk. Let me see. See if I can put something down to kind of. I put a towel over my keyboard. Maybe that'll help. Ooh. No, she's definitely, her butt's bigger. Like her face is really thin, but her ass is definitely bigger. Her ass is definitely bigger. But I don't know what they put in that food because it just blows people up. And then poor Rash Bomb. I heard the comments for Rash Bomb were horrible. About his chins. The poor man shaves his beard and his face shows. Poor guy. We got to feel for him. But that was an interesting, so when I get there, I don't know why I don't think about it, but there's other attorneys there for other inmates, defendants. They weren't even inmates, they were released. So they're defendants. And so he handled those first, and he calls them show for cause. And they were taking, one guy's like, I had a tooth pulled. And Judge Everett goes, but he didn't prescribe you cocaine. And that's what you had in your system, cocaine. I was like, so he gave him a final warning and let him go. So it was their lucky day. And then Donna. So when I'm in the media rooms, okay, so there's attorneys and then there's all these media people. So Law and Crime used a different freelancer. She said she was out of Tampa and she was really kind of loud. She was like a really loud person. I'm like, I don't know about how this is going to go. And so someone coached her, like, you got to really be quiet. And she stayed in the media room then. So Law and Crime was there. CTV was there. WCTV had the pool camera. WTXL, Kendall Brandt was there. Jeff Burlew was there. And I was there. And that was it. Stephanie, the sleuth, was there for mentor lawyer, but she primarily stayed in the media room. Couple rows behind me was the victim's advocate for the county. She was behind me. Sarah Dugan was there first, and here walks Georgia. I was like, Georgia's present. Catherine for Daniel Rashbaum's side has not shown her face yet, but Daniel Rashbaum was there. Alex Morris was there. Donna. So when I'm in the media room, they hook up the pool camera outside in the courtroom, and there's Donna on the bench like this. Just sitting there like this. Hands shackled, waist to hands, and feet. By the time I walked in the courtroom, which was at 8:51, she was already seated on her chair, which again is the hard chair. So I asked Kendall Brandt with WTXL, I said, am I the only one who's noticed that for Judge Everett's courtroom, the defendants are in the hard chairs? And she's like, no, we noticed that after you said it. I was like, thanks. So, but Hankinson and I believe Wheeler didn't do that. But for that, so she had a really hard time. It is a heavy, really old school wooden chair. And she had a hard time moving herself into the desk. She had a little safety pen to write things down, but she was trying to write things down, which you may have seen in the camera. But I couldn't believe it. I was sitting there staring. I was staring at her and staring at her. I was like, horrible. And I thought, man, she's got to know that someone behind her. I was behind to the right. I was the row right behind the media. And I was like, this the whole time. I took notes, but I was like, I couldn't stop staring at Donna Adelson because her face is it's different. She doesn't have the fillers. You can see the scars from her plastic surgery that she had. So right along here, you can see a really long scar. And I was like, ooh, she covered that up with makeup. So both sides were scarred, and her hair is really long. She had one of those knit bands, like hairband, that looks like it's kind of crocheted around it. It was black, and it was in her hair, and her gray stops right to that hairband, and then it's blonde. So all of that is growing out. Her hair is quite long, which she could get it cut. I mean, they have people to cut hair in the jail. You pay for it, you sign up, whatever. But she hasn't done that. But her butt was definitely on the larger side. I was really surprised. And Alex Morris gave the same look. Like, he's so serious. He's like this. Judge. Oh, no, Judge. I don't even know if I could do it, Rob, because he's much thinner than I am and physically fit. I know he coaches soccer and stuff, but I was like, ooh, this. It was a lot longer of a hearing than I thought, and the room was freezing. Absolutely freezing. I was like, I'll be hot, so I'll wear like a skirt. I froze. We all froze. Kendall Brandt had sleeveless suit on, like a sleeveless jumper. It was freezing in there. But Donna had her clothing on, the jail garb, but she had a sweater underneath. It was kind of a gray sweater. It wasn't a t-shirt. She did have long sleeves on. But what the interesting part to me is, like, so the judge is sitting there. He's like, let me get the Zoom ready to go. Who's on the Zoom? He asked George Kappelman, who's on the Zoom? And she said, Ruth and Phil Markel and Shelley Markel. And he goes, yep, that's who I have. I have Ruth and Phil. And then there's some onlookers. They called it onlookers on there. He goes, but if anybody disturbs the Zoom, you're off. And at one point he did remove people from the Zoom, but I don't know why. They were could have been moving around and distracting him. I don't know, but he did remove them. But you know who wasn't in the Zoom? Harvey and Wendy. They didn't have to drive to Tallahassee. They could have been on the Zoom, and they chose not to be. So it's not about being here. It's not about other people seeing their face. They could be on the Zoom and not show their face, right? We all know that. You don't have to show your face. You could just look at the camera. You mute yourself. You mute your video, but they still weren't on it. Why would you not be on there for your wife, Harvey? Dr. Harvey. Why would you not be on there? It blows the mind that they're not on there. When no one has to see their face. It's not like, anyone could take a screenshot if you black out your face on your, just put one of the icons out, the Zoom icons. But that's not it. Neither were on. Wendy maybe, because she's a witness. That makes sense. But what about Harvey? Wendy's a witness, so not so, but it's still televised. It's not like you wouldn't see it on TV. Not Harvey. Harvey is not on the Zoom. I was shocked. I was like, maybe he'll show up for that. Nope, he wasn't. Wasn't on. But it was a lot longer of a hearing than I expected. So much so that I forgot I paid for parking on the side of the building, which is what I usually do instead of the parking garage. And I forgot to renew my parking, but luckily I didn't get a ticket. So that was nice. Hey, y'all. Hey, Bling. How are you? Good to see you all. Thank you so much for tuning in with me. Shabbat Shalom from Israel. Sharon, I hope you're having a safe time in Israel right now. Hello, roomies. Marianne. I know it's been a lot. I wonder what the viewership was for this hearing. So we're going to have another hearing on Friday the 6th. I believe it'll also be at 9 a.m. And that's to handle Sergeant Corbett. It appears that Alex Morris mentioned the demonstratives on the defense side was not going to be available by the 4th, but he said he could work it out with the state, and the judge was like, but can you? He was like yucking it up and making fun. He was like, I'm going to keep an eye on this and make sure we get the demonstratives. So that'll be the 6th. There's a hearing on the 12th. Yeah, she hasn't been missing any meetings. So hello, everyone. She definitely put some weight on. Her back had back fat. Not kidding. I didn't want to take a picture. Like, there were people using their phone, and I didn't want to take a picture of it, but she had back fat. Donna Adelson. She must be absolutely miserable. She's obviously not a fat woman by any stretch, but for her to try and go to according to her daughter, go to Weight Watchers, even when she's skinny, and not be allowed to be at Weight Watchers is a thing. So we'll see. That high carb slop. Oh, Brady, thank you. We had a nice time. We went to so yesterday was our anniversary, and it was our we got married twice. So one was kind of in secret where we didn't tell the kids, and that's the one I like to celebrate, which is the first one. And so we went to a place called Table 23 at 6th Avenue in Thomasville and had a drink and an appetizer. And then I don't eat a lot of kale or grits. I don't eat grits at all. I don't eat a grit or avocados. So we left, and my husband was like, I don't want kale. So I was like, okay. So we left, and we did see some friends there, and we went to walk-ons. And walk-ons here used to be TGI Fridays, and that's where Chris and I met. So that's why we went to walk-ons. And we just stayed and hung out. It was really nice. I saw people there I knew from Cigars, Jerry Cigars. I saw another realtor I knew. Like, I didn't realize how many people would be at walk-ons last night, but there were a lot. So it was nice to see the people I did see, and we had a nice dinner. It was nice. We giggled. We laughed it up. We get the ass report from Patty, her field reporter. It was interesting. I know the trial is going to be interesting, but I'm going to make a game time decision about jury selection. And as much as I want to get a media pass and go see jury selection in the back, the more I read these jury selections, the less I think I'm the appropriate person to be in the room while they're doing jury selection. I really don't see it at all. I don't see me hanging out in there. I don't think my face is appropriate for the voir dire and the individual voir dire. I just don't. I don't even know that I'll go to any jury selection because I don't think my face. I think if I walked into the jury room and it was like our Mayor Daley, who last trial with Charlie Adelson, was asked, do you think he's innocent or guilty? And someone says guilty, I'm out. Like, I just can't keep a straight face for that. So I don't think I'm going to go. I thought about that today. I was like, really, Patty, you have no business being back there. I don't want to get arrested. I don't need a contempt charge. So I'm not going to go. You think jury selection is boring? I think counting the number of people who go back and ask if you're guilty and knowing that number is pretty intense. So, but I can always read it afterwards. I don't think I'm going to go. Oh, okay. Well, thanks, Rabbit. I'll take a look at it. I don't know. I didn't see it in my email, so I'll take a look. He says, I sent you an email about an idea to raise some funds for all the YouTube creators coming in for the trial. I will take a look. You can't type today. I get it. So I'm going to look at my notes. Thank you all for joining us. I don't eat grits. I've never had grits, but I don't eat grits. I've never had avocado, but I'm not eating that either. So it's just a thing. I think Charlie is going to break once he sees how horrible Donna looks. She really looks different. I think it's going to hit him hard to see what happened to the both. He might turn on Wendy. You can hope so. Yeah, Katie Cool Lady can take my spot. I just have absolutely like no game time face for that. Oh, you usually can't stand to hear a woman's appearance. Well, see, I have fat back or back fat. So that's why I feel like Irene, that I am immune to that dislike of those comments. Like if I were skinny, like I get it, but I am heavy. I've always, not always, but since I've given birth, which is like 30 years ago, I've been heavy. So I just feel like I talk about myself that way. She is heavier. She is not heavy by any stretch. She's probably in a 10-12. But for some woman who was like a 2, that's heavy for her. So she's definitely, I mean, she has no choice but to eat because they'll put an IV in her. So she has no choice but to eat. She's definitely, I was surprised. Her face is still very gaunt to me, but below the waist, she's definitely put on some weight. Patty is so real. I'm excusing myself from jury selection due to my own understanding of resting face. I just don't think it's appropriate. Oh, Missy Ann says, I think it's boring. The number of times I've been asked a question and heard others ask, are you guilty? You can tell who means it and who doesn't when you're in the jury room. That's interesting because we'll go one of the motions before I go with the timeline. One of the motions, of course, was about the jury questionnaire. And of course, Alex Moore stood up and he was like, it makes it more efficient. It makes this and that, blah. And then Sarah Dugan was not efficient because these people have to write it down. And then we have to read them. And then we still have to ask them everything that they answer to because they're going to be sworn in, even though they, are attesting to it on a jury questionnaire. Some people may not understand the question. And she said it's not even just the answer on a written questionnaire. It's how you answer, your body language when you answer. Do you say, are you hesitating? Are you trying to think? Are you thinking to the right? Are you thinking to the left? What is that you're trying to answer? And there's no conversation before you put someone on the jury or not. So that was denied. The jury questionnaire was denied. Alex Morris, again, attorney for Donna Adelson, did say that there was another murder trial going on where they were doing a jury questionnaire and Everett just kind of blew over it. It was like, okay, it's a homicide, yes, and it just kept going. He doesn't want it. He doesn't want a jury questionnaire, so bless his heart. She could. I don't think I've ever done Weight Watchers. Your face gives subtitle to your thoughts too. Yeah, I just don't. I mean, I might get you can handle the courtroom because you're a little bit distanced. But I believe I've been in a jury room before as a juror. It's small. I have no business being there. I know. That Raymond has a lot of salt in it, does it? She probably does. But it's so big on her that the I don't know, the garb, the uniform the inmate wears, those jaily stuff is very heavy, itchy probably. Oh. It's like, remember Carolyn, who came to speak with us? He said that, when you look at those blankets, you can see fibers from other products. So it's pure recycle, pure dirt. She did seem not medicated. Again, I really don't believe she's on any medication. I don't. Because you may not have seen her facial tics. We'll call it that because I don't have another term for it. But I did. So I'm on the second row back on the gallery right behind her. Jeff Burlew was sitting next to me. He's with the Tallahassee Democrat. He gets up and he sits at the end of the media seat. So he has a better position. So I slid down so I could see her better. And I just couldn't stop staring. I really couldn't. She, her eye roll was was pretty much on. She was nodding a lot, and she does that thing. Like eye roll, like blow, like, who are you? Like, why are you even saying that? But she did that quite a bit. Now, it wasn't as exasperated as her first appearance by any stretch. But every time she did it, Alex Morris reached out his arm to her to just be like, be aware, be aware. He didn't hold her. He didn't do that, but he definitely reached out his arm to her, like, be aware. He didn't sit straight forward. He kind of sat like this. So she's here. This is my book that I was taking notes. So Donna's here straight ahead, and he's kind of turned to her so that he could subtly, when she would make that face or roll her eye or smirk, you're not right. You're not right. You don't know what I did. Then he would put, all I could see was his arm would be moved. I couldn't see his hand, but his arm would be moved. So I thought, oh, he's trying to soothe her and give her some self-awareness. And she would stop immediately. And then a few minutes later, Georgia would say something and she would stop immediately. When Georgia got up to walk up to the lectern, when Georgia gets up to the lectern, she was eagle eye at Georgia. When Sarah Dugan walked up, she just kind of looked straight ahead. But when Georgia moved or sat down, she looked directly at Georgia and then moved up. It was interesting. Brady says, all your thoughts, opinions cross my face. Everett would kick me out. Yeah, you really can't. And I think I'm good with it in the courtroom. I was last time. My daughter, the whole time the trial is on her, she's watching 2020. She's like, Mom, you have RBF. Well, yeah, because you had to, Molly. I couldn't sit there and try to be charming to Judge Everett. He's looking right at you, or at least you feel like he is, right? I would starve on jail food, Dee says. I don't need to eat expensive food, but it's got to be wholesome. Food is supposedly the absolute worst. Yeah. She can't get her Ozempic daily. Maybe that's why her face is fallen. I thought prison was worse than jail, and I'm under the impression that state prison is worse than federal. And I believe that too, which is why we know now that Luis Rivera is trying to get the rest of his time in state prison to be federal, but I don't think that's going to happen. You've had fancy grits. You ate ramen last night. I love ramen. My hands are a tell. I can't believe it's around the corner either. I mean, I think it's, Monday's a Labor Day, so we're off. I'm not off. I'm a real estate agent. But Saturday is the next hearing for Corbett. We'll see what's going to happen with that one. Yeah, her eyes are really wide open. I was counting blinks. I'm like, is she going to blink a lot like Charlie did? And she does have a flutter for blinks where she's like if it was Morse code, it would be a symbol. But it wasn't constant the way Charlie and Wendy were. When Georgia stood up to talk about Wendy and the book, there was a portion towards the end where I guess Rashbaum wanted to remove the ask about this. What is the book? This is our story. I had to look at it. This is our story about being in Hiawassee and the husband was awful. And so Georgia goes on that line, and Donna was like zoomed into Georgia's face, like zoomed in. And then she went, that's not true. It's Hiawassee. She didn't call it Pembroke Pines. She called it Hiawassee. So interesting. You think when reading our comments, he would grow his beard back? Yeah, I heard. So mentor lawyer Stephanie the Sleuth was with me, and she's like, Miss Patty, I've never heard some of these comments before. I didn't know people could make up descriptions like this. So I guess she had never heard trash bomb. She had never heard. She goes, they went at his chin. I said, welcome to Donna Adelson's The internet gallery. Yeah, I don't think she's on her because she doesn't have her pharmaceuticals. Irene says that could be true. That could be true. I thought I noticed slightly quivering. Did anyone else see that? Yes, she did. She did quiver. I thought she was going to cry. I wrote it down. So right at the beginning, before the hearing started, and they were handling the other two gentlemen, I said to Kendall Brandt, like I scooted over quietly, I said, do you think she's going to cry? And she's like, I think she's going to cry. I think she is. Her jaw did twitch. She was making faces. I did not feel bad. I don't feel bad for her. Alicia Devine was not there because she had a baby, or she's about to have a baby, one of the two. So she was not present. So Jeff Burley was taking photos with his cell phone. He's so funny. He's like, Patty, I just have so much because the election's coming up and all these hearings, and he's writing and writing and writing. I was like, take good notes, Jeff. Take good notes. I think Donna might be on the old Seroquel. I do not believe so. I'm telling you. She's not on anything like that in the prison system. She's just not doing it. Or the jail system. Unless you're psychotic, you're not getting anything. You're just not. He said balancing act 24 times. And what about pattern? So what was it? Murder by Maestro was like, what's our drinking game? And I was like, pattern. They were talking pattern a lot. And you're saying balancing act. It's a balancing act, Judge. It's a balancing act. She was looking at George's ring. Could be. I couldn't see George's ring, so. No empathy for Donna. The energy in the room was casual, more casual than a trial, but mystifying. Is that the way? I mean, it was so freezing. It was hard to have energy. Like, it was the ghosts of the county courthouse in that room. I'll dress differently on next Friday. But it is, it wasn't really, it was serious, but it wasn't like serious like the trial. I was more stunned that she was there, that she wasn't on Zoom, which I'm glad she was there for herself. Alex Morris looked extremely serious, but that's, I think, is his game face. Rashbaum, anytime something was denied, or when Judge Everett tried to split the baby and do, portion of denied, portion is granted, he seemed resigned to that. Nobody was upset by any of those. Rashbaum was screaming in the beginning, like the first, with the indictment. Was that the first one? The indictment hearing, he was like, "Wah!" No, calm down. He's right next to you, but nobody listens. Searching for the lives. Yeah. The biggest blow to Donna was losing the fleeing to Vietnam motion. She was visibly deflated. And that was interesting, right? So Rashbaum tried to give the side that, well, she travels all the time. She used her own passport. It had her own name on it with her own picture. Like, she's not in some back alley trying to get a passport, except it was a one-way ticket on an emergency visa. It wasn't just your average visa. And then I guess the knowledge was the timeshare with Scott Radius is that a timeshare was only 6 days, but I don't think that's all of the information. I think he was very limited in that information. But I think she was very deflated by that. The wealth thing, I'm not really surprised that they're just not going to be able to sit there and say she had $8 million, that it's going to have to be more focused because people don't always like people with money. But then the judge said, yes, but she had the means to pay. And so Georgia said, yes, she had $100,000 plus $1 million for the bribe, which was important to bring out. So my husband only eats grits. Yallah says grits taste so bland to me. He only eats them with cheese, which you could have gotten last night, but Oh, you missed her facial tics. Yeah, well, she had them. I couldn't stop looking. I'm asking my friend Na about it because it was new information. So I'm going to ask about the timeshare. You only get 6 days, but he makes it sound like that's a bad thing. Like I owned a Marriott timeshare. You only get 7. They did go at his chin, I heard. Rashbaum asked for this since his comments about Dan Markel and STS. I know. He was still like, what was the, well, I think I wrote it down. He made a comment about some crazy defendant, not a crazy witness, or their crazy ideas about a witness. I was like, oh, I can't believe you just said that. There were a couple things I'm like, did you just admit this? In open court, did you just admit this? Did you just admit that she was outside the house? Remember, did you hear the one or watch the one where it was the text message right outside Charlie's house? And that's the one where he referred to Catherine Magbanua as crazy. And he said, well, we're not even going to dispute she's outside the house. We're not even dispute that she handed the money. We're not disputing any of this. And the judge looked like, did you just say that? Did you just say that to me, the judge, that we're not disputing Catherine Magbanua knowing that Donna was outside the house? I was like, oh my God. And then he called her crazy. He said her crazy proffer and her crazy, I was like, crazy testimony. Crazy testimony. You think she held herself from crying? She may be. Curious, Gina, is that a reason for me not to be in the jury room or her? Because I'm just not going to, I just don't think I can do it. I just think the person, first of all, I could know somebody and I don't want to do that. And second of all, because I've known someone in each jury panel, don't want to do that. And then second of all, as soon as they say she's guilty, I'm out. Like I'm going to roll over laughing. So Donna is going to piss the jury off. She can't help herself. Why would anyone feel bad for Donna? I think it's just you see a woman sitting there, but I don't. Rashi put himself in the crosshairs in doing that interview. That's when things ramped up about him. Pattern Pieces by Wesley John Harding. Pattern Pieces. Drink. Will Donna have her own clothes? Yes, she'll have her own clothes. Will she have makeup? I don't know. And who will do her hair? Like Charlie's hair was different when he was in the jail versus that day. So I know they let you get your shower before you go to trial to the courthouse, but I don't know about her hair. In prison, if you don't eat, yeah, because people try to go on hunger strikes. So they'll put you in the hospital. It's a hospital bed back in the clinic where I would have worked. And they will, they're going to keep you alive. Remember, this is jail going to court, and the state has a right to try you. And yeah, that's exactly what they do. Georgia had the appropriate color for Donna, Envy, green. I thought about that. I thought, why is she wearing green today? So I think everything's a code now. I was like, why is she wearing that? Puzzle pieces, Judge. Puzzle pieces. Come on, Judge. The puzzle pieces don't fit. You got to rule in my favor. I mean, he got a couple rulings there and a couple that won't be ruled yet. So she was helpless to hold a pen today. This was Donna. She was trying to hold a pen, so she was helpless that way. I don't know him, but I have friends that know him really well. I was just like, why does he have the sourpuss face all the time? Like, I think he's trying to look super focused, but all he looks of is like he had a really bad dill pickle. That's the only thing I could say. And I hope to God I never need him, you know. Alex, I was sitting there when he was sitting there, like when he was like touching or moving his arm towards her, we'll say, because I couldn't really tell. We'll just say moving. I thought, is he just getting that check? Because he looks so thin sitting there. He looks like he hasn't eaten. He's a very thin man. And I hear he's very fit. He does a lot of physical activity. But I'm like, is he just like, God help me? God help me. This may or may not help me launch a bigger career here. Well, they're Morris's idea to hold those motions. Morris knows 90% of these motions are total BS. But he knows that because he's lost them before. So Rash Bomb was hired late summer 2016. I was surprised by that. I don't think I realized that date. Juggling down. That's another one. So we have pattern. Okay. Pattern for the group. We got to do this all together. Puzzle pieces. That's 2 words. Juggling. Balancing act. Fair. Fair is a word. Stale. Can't forget stale. Okay. So we have 6 so far. No Ozempic in jail. No. Apparently the timeshare was not yet built, according to Judge Everett. And I mean, Rash Bomb to Judge Everett. No more Xanax. Your anxiety is your own in jail. You have to deal with it. Ooh, rabbit. That's a tough one. Who timeshares sand? Well, people buy, with a contract, knowing that something's going to get built. I wouldn't do it, but I don't have $8 million either. Oh, he's definitely heavier. After the final sidebar, she and Dan seemed pleased about something, like it went their way with the judge. Did you have any observations? No, they were there for a long time. I have absolutely no idea what they said. I have no idea. We won't know, probably. It's a non-extradition country with a one-way ticket and an emergency visa. It's all content. Oh, the other one was society page, context. Context is another word. It has to have context. Context is another word for us. Non-Vietnamese cannot own property in Vietnam, according to Brady. I know. That's what I'm talking about. True crime. What about when Rashi misspoke and said, this is not our dispute? I mean, this is what we're disputing. I know. And the look on the judge's face was like, did you just say that out loud? Yeah. And it was a dispute about the money and the dispute about being outside the door and the $100,000. So he's like, we're not disputing that they were paid $100,000. And I was like, okay, you have a client that's not seated here, Dan, and you just said that. She cannot help herself with the eye rolls. She cannot. Yeah, he said it hasn't been built yet, is what he said. That's what I heard. Did you hear Rashi stipulate the $100,000 was paid to Katie on the night of? Yep, he did. He did say it. That's what I mean. Like the judge was like, do you mean to say that? Yeah, he said it. Oh, yes. If you're so inclined, just like me. Like me. Luis Rivera has mental health issues that won't be mentioned, and he was the head of the Latin Kings. Yeah. Well, here's my thing with the Latin Kings. And I wrote it down. And I think I posted it in the community notes or pages. Rashbaum wants to bring up Latin Kings again, to put it on Daniel Rashbaum, to put it on Luis Rivera instead of Donna, except for the fact he's not head of the entire Latin Kings, which is what he said. He's head of the Latin Kings. He's head of a chapter maybe, or was, or is, who knows. But dude, your other client who's in another state, to avoid the Latin Kings, you want to bring up the Latin Kings again? You want Donna to be in confinement for like the rest of her life? Because that's what's going to happen. I couldn't believe that. Like, haven't you learned to not just throw shit against a wall, hope it sticks, and then your client's scared for his life in confinement, which, we don't have a problem with, but he'll be in confinement again. It's just insane to me. Oh, I can't even imagine what they're charging. I cannot even imagine what they're charging. Rashi is very focused on that night. Charlie wanted to focus on that night during his trial. Baby Doll says he's not likable. A lot of people don't like defense attorneys for obvious reasons, but I like Mark Garagos. He's likable. Rashi is not so much. Well, he doesn't have the media savvy. Daniel Rashbaum does not have that. But who can answer my question? John Lauro has tremendous media savvy. He's savvy with the media. It's probably better stated. Savvy with the media. Why has he not been on a Wendi Adelson is innocent tour like the Karen Reeds? That she's just being, all this crap thrown up against the wall. She's an unindicted co-conspirator. She should be allowed to live her life. She's never been charged. Why is John Lauro not out there for Wendi Adelson? Does anyone know? Anybody have a theory? Where is it? Why is John Lauro, who we believe is Wendy's attorney still, I mean, that's the way that the docket reads, why is there hey, Roberta, why is there no John Lauro press conference? Why is John Lauro not being with 2020 and 48 Hours and Law and Crime and STS or whoever else? Why is he not doing that? Why is he not going out and go, my client is super innocent. She's not just abdicated her. Like, she's exonerated. She's never been charged. He's never done anything. He's never done any media to try and help that client. I just thought of it this morning. He doesn't like Wendy. John Lauro doesn't like Wendy, so he's not going on TV. Well, John Lauro likes TV. He does like TV, but why is he not doing it? I mean, he's a great-looking guy. He's intelligent. He's very articulate. Why not? Why not? Why not? I don't know. Wendy's money will be all gone if she hires Laura one for her a trial. I think she's just a legal advisor to her for now. That's important distinction, Clarissa. I didn't know that. So that makes sense. Sharon says Laura is learning from the other attorney's mistakes. Because Wendy doesn't want exposure, head in the sand. That's why Laura's silent. If she's charged, she may come forward, may not. Jennifer says, I think Laura believes there's no evidence against her and he doesn't have to do a media tour. Laura will not do a presser. He likes his client, thinks she will never be arrested. I don't. I think she will. I mean, Rashbaum brought it up. She's not been arrested yet. But Donna is convicted. Wendy will be arrested. Because Laura and Wendy are smart enough to keep their mouths shut. Why speak if you're innocent? Laura not jumping the gun on Wendy's guilt. As soon as she's arrested, he will launch a targeted media campaign. You would love a TV interview of Wendy. I don't know. Yet. The state will never decide to arrest me. I think that's what Donna thought all these years. Tim Jansen, I believe. I've not heard him say it, but I have from all of you say that she won't get arrested. I think she will be arrested. I think that last bit of discovery that came in shows that she'll be arrested. If you've got Sarah Youssef, which, Daniel Rashbaum, no one brought up that testimony. No one brought up the deposition of Sarah Youssef. No one brought up I think it was yesterday that they were doing Lisa Shelby's deposition. No one brought that up and tried to get that removed. Clarissa says she will be arrested. She's an attorney. And there is a ton of circumstantial evidence. If they arrest Wendy, her innocence fraud tour will start as soon as possible. Lauro. It's my mouth. I'm sorry. It's Lauro. And he is Wendy's attorney. And he's like $800 an hour, I think. Ooh, I missed it. Rashi said he's not disputing that $100,000 was paid to Katie on the night of 7/18, right? That's what he said. So as Donna's defense, Charlie did it all by himself, but there's a text message that says, I'm outside your door. And because of that text message, Catherine was asked in her proffer about the text message. And now Rashbaum then goes on to say, well, Catherine's proffer doesn't really give you any information that's new. But it does it. I mean, it may tie in. Like, I didn't think about her agreeing that they were outside the door and she knew they were outside the door. Interesting to me. Rashi should just give the Adelsons a 3 for the price of one deal. I don't think Judge Everett didn't even like this. I don't think he's going to like that. Barb says when she's arrested, she'll hire a Jose Baez type to defend her. It won't be Lauro. Depending on how Baez does in his current trial, that may be true. Patty, did you hear 2020 is doing another show prior to the trial? No, because I don't really watch TV. Tim Jansen is to appear on the show. I'm not surprised because he's a defense attorney and he's here in Tallahassee and he's known throughout Florida. Jansen has changed his mind. Oh, I mean, he's got to keep up, right? Oh, you're a paralegal with the JD. I'm sorry. Oh, did you hear? Oh, speaking of being a member of the bar, did you hear Judge Everett say that Wendy is a member of the bar and she cannot sit on the witness stand and opine about Florida statutes? I didn't know that was a rule. So interesting. I thought it would be like the hat you wear. If you're sitting there and you're like talking about an entire statute that was moved through the legislature against you, you still could not have an opinion about it, which I thought was interesting. I thought that was really interesting that he said. You don't represent murderers, Clarissa. Well, there's a lot of money in representing murders. A lot of us have always believed that Tim Jansen wants to be on Wendy's team. Yeah, she said that. Remember, she said that it was unconstitutional. And so Everett said, if she's asked about this stuff, make sure that she doesn't opine as to the statute itself. Right? If she was terrified of the Latin Kings, why didn't she protect Wendy and the kids? She only called Charlie. Very good point. So she shouldn't have made a comment on the grandparents' law being unconstitutional. That's what the judge said. Roberta says, after Wendy made it clear she would never hire Wendy, Jansen changes his mind to the public opinion. Gross. Oh, I don't think he forgot too much about that last trial. Sounds like Everett is remembering that it's unconstitutional. Remember, she went, and it's unconstitutional, Judge, about the Markell Act. And then she walked out, and then the judge had to tell the jury. It's going to cause dude, I couldn't believe that. Because of Rashbaum. So Rashbaum was trying to make it like it's a big organization, it's a corporation, they should be named. And I guess the state wanted to say like instead of Latin King, the state wanted to say street gang. And he said, no, it's Latin Kings. And then Judge Everett, in his wit, says, well, it's not like it's a 501c3. I think you can just say street gang. So that was where that came from. He was being funny, but he was like, they're not a corporation. It's not a separate entity unto itself. They don't have a fictitious name filed with the Department of State in Florida, was what he was getting at. I don't know who Bruce Rivers is, but thank you. I'll look him up. The motion in limine Chris Corbett in his testimony, how some of it is hearsay, he is not an expert, and that is not a proper summary exhibit, is substantive and has merit, worries me. It doesn't worry me after sitting there because it kind of goes to the Sun Pass and whatever. And it goes to a couple of things. It's not stale, which the judge is never going to say it's stale. He may limit some of what is said by Corbett, as he has other of these motions. But I think the majority of what's going to be in there will be allowed in there. I definitely do. He may limit a little bit of it. And he's talking about a summary exhibit in 329 pages. And Sarah Dugan kind of said, well, it's voluminous. It's a voluminous amount. And we don't know, going specifically to the Sun Pass, we didn't know that text message really had any relevance until Catherine came forward and started being more flippy. She started to flip a little bit, tiny bit, not a lot. But saying, yeah, Grandma Donna was right outside the door. She was right there. So then they were like, oh, and then you couldn't get the Sun Pass. So I think it will be okay. I don't think it is not substantive. I think he is. They are entitled to work with the state. Law enforcement is entitled, to my opinion and what I've heard, to work with the state and pick and choose the slides in the path. Obviously, they're not going to go through, one cell phone statement that I no longer even read. I used to read when it was minute to minute. I no longer even read. It's still like 25, 30 pages. So having 329 pages of a slide is really not much when you're looking at cell phones, Sun Pass, Cellbrite, all of that stuff that he's going to, maps, charts, that kind of stuff. I missed so much during these hearings. So thankful for these conversations. Well, thank you, Society Page. But I'm not worried about the Corbett. I think he needs to think about it. He needs to look at the cases that they're throwing in his lap to review. The state needs time to respond because they haven't really had time to respond to that because they only just deposed him and then wrote this limine, and the state needs to write a brief. The Latin Kings are a not-for-profit. Oh, Bruce Rivers is the best YouTube law channel. I love him. Oh. Roberta says she doesn't watch STS unless there's something. And see, and I only watch STS. I can't, and not because I don't like them, obviously. I'm just kind of occupied right now. I don't like the B word, but I'm occupied. And I mean, they were very nice to me, so I have nothing to say. I mean, Daniel Rashbaum's setting it all on his own. He didn't need STS's help. He just did it on his own. Yeah. Oh, that's going to be their strategy. She paid, but they can't prove it was for a murder. Yeah, he could have just said, hey, Mom, could you just bring over $100,000 of money that you washed in the dishwasher or the washing machine, and I'll staple it, and then we'll give it to them. Can you do that for me, Mom? Sure. Corbett has testified in all the previous cases. In that filing, we learned that Wendy canceled her cable TV on July 7th and instead signed up for Netflix and Apple TV, indicative of Wendy's move? I think yes. I know. July 7th. But was the TV... Remember we talked about this? We think the TV was broken around June 11 to 16. So why did she cancel her cable before that? I'm just curious. And have any of you seen Fancy Fiction's graphic that the mediation for Dan Markel and Wendi Adelson's divorce was at an impasse on July 18, 2013. She posted it on her feed and in her Patreon that it was at an impasse, and the late Joe Boyd, who used to be the realtor for the Tallahassee board, the lawyer for the Tallahassee Board of Realtors, was their mediator. And he'd been in mediation for decades and he couldn't get them to come together. So on July 18, 2013 was the impasse of their mediation, and it was to be rescheduled. And of course, we know that he was murdered on July 18, 2014. It's the humility, not the humidity. I'm missing something. Rashi comes across like a bull in a china shop. Think Alex Morris is wishing he would shut up. He did, obviously I couldn't see any notes, but he did kind of like, I don't know why he needs corrected. Like, this should be your only case, Daniel. But Alex Morris had to remind him again before he would give a presentation to the judge. The motion in limine filed by the defense about Chris Corbett still needs to be addressed. That is next Friday. Next Friday. We assume at 9:00. I see Rashi sending letters threatening people's freedom of speech because we're making fun of him. Well, he better get to writing because it's a lot of people from what I was told. Stop self-snitching. I couldn't believe he said that. Oh, Judge, we're not disputing $100,000 was paid. And then he stopped. So. Jewel. That was one of the worst days. I was locked in a basement of a church. She goes, STS introduced me to you, Patty. Oh, I need a vodka and I don't have any. I don't like the B word. What word did I say? What word is the B word? I know I said something, but I can't remember now. Okay, so let's talk about what I learned. Okay, so the Zoom, Markel's were on there. No Adelsons were on the Zoom. And there's no reason not to be on a Zoom. It's your wife. I couldn't have stopped. But he could have watched on TV too. And we know from the post-conviction phone calls, Harvey was likely watching his wife. Alex Morris got up and speak about the 329 page Corbett, which is going to be continued until the 6th. He says things like, on the heels of the motion, the state needs to be heard. So that was one reason why it was going to be continued. Dugan, ready whenever. She said right away, I'm ready whenever, Judge. The jury's still going to be the 17th. That's not being moved. Then the next one was traveler's consciousness of guilt. There was a conflict. She said she's waiving deadlines of discovery that she renewed her waiver of conflict. So the first motion was the indictment. From 2014 was the murder. Rashbaum says 2016, Donna became a suspect. And he says, he goes on to say the evidence is the same in 2016 and 19, but we know that's not true. And he said there was he's implying that it was an intentional time delay named Willie Meggs. That was the intentional time delay. Could have been charged in 16 when Catherine, Siegfried, and Lewis were charged. Judge reminded him there's no statute of limitations. Judge also reminds the state that they don't have to accept the defense's stipulations, which I like. The evidence they had in 16, 19, 22, and 23 is exactly the same, Judge. Dugan said that's not true. I wrote, Rashbaum keeps saying things like right, he's saying right. He says there's a prejudice component. Records no longer exist for SunPass, the phone. And he mentioned the call patterns, and he's like, we can't have a pattern. If we have this pattern, we can't have more patterns. We don't have a pattern. If the pattern was like a year, we can't have a pattern for 3 weeks. Can't have that pattern. He says it needs to be for a specific length of time. And in my guess, the time that Daniel Rashbaum says is this specific length. It can't be the state specific length. It has to be what Daniel Rashbaum said. He says they're not able to fully defend the SunPass. Judge said he'd take that under consideration. And the text message where Donna says to Charlie, I'm outside of your house. He says SunPass records are only 3.5 years. Judge brings up, but do we know that they really took a SunPass? Do we know that they were on there? Do we know that the transponders were there? Blah, blah, blah. She is a fabulous litigator. She is so fierce. I just, the body language and confidence in Sarah Dugan and Georgia Kappelman, I wish I had some of that. I don't. 2016, then they move on to the financial records, financial call records. They had some of them for Donna Adelson. If they got her financial records all the way back, why couldn't they get the phone records? Why couldn't they get the SunPass records? Daniel says it's bad faith. It's important. What is it? But it doesn't need, and the state says, well, it's not a sinister motive by not having those records. It's just they don't have the records. And they didn't really know that they needed the SunPass records until Catherine Magbanua gave the 2 proffers in 2023 after her conviction and before Charlie Adelson's trial. He's saying the state had a strategy to wait. Strategy, that was another word. Strategy. That was another word that we could drink to. There was no offer until there were offers of immunity. So he goes, the state was constantly waiting. They were waiting, hoping someone would flip. Would they flip? Would anyone flip? And when no one flipped, that's when then they arrested Donna. If a court is not willing to dismiss, court should not be able to establish a pattern. Patterns. He says that Corbett said, this is where Georgia kind of disputed it, says the SunPass records do show entry to the turnpike and that Corbett's maps show that she got on the turnpike. Georgia kind of said that she implied that that's not accurate, but we won't know till we see it. And I asked, why is Rashbaum yelling? Because he was yelling. His arms were up in the air. He's flailing around. He was yelling. Judge asked about the cell phone records, the SunPass. Why is this not a topic for a thorough and robust cross-examination? And he says right again. He kept saying right. Dugan got up. She said, and I write, it's freezing. She goes, it's no substantial. It's not. We're not trying to be strategic here. It's just the timeline was the timeline. When we knew something, and she got on there. Defense said around late July 16, he tried to get the SunPass records and couldn't. But she wasn't really a party to the circumstances of the trial, so she couldn't get it. And he's like, But wouldn't you have that payment in your checkbook? I just thought of that. If the Sun Pass, how do you pay for Sun Pass? So you can keep an accounting of Sun Pass, right? Like I keep like $25 in my Sun Pass. Wouldn't, if she drove that specific day, July 18, 2016, could there have been a charge to her bank account or her credit card or whatever she used to pay Sun Pass that would corroborate something like that? Or how much she had in her Sun Pass? Couldn't a Mary Hall or another forensic accountant go through her bank accounts or Harvey's? Or she could have used someone else's Sun Pass for that matter. Because back in the day, 2014 Sun Pass isn't like it is today, right? What did a Sun Pass look like? I mean, I don't know if they had the kind in 2000. Does anyone know this answer? In 2000, sorry, I have all this stuff here. In 2014, couldn't they have had, was it the same as it is now? They haven't really updated them, I don't think. But couldn't they have gone through her bank accounts and see when the Sun Pass got charged? She should have her own Sun Pass records or should have kept them. It's BSPR offense. But seriously, though, like I keep an account. We have 2 Sun Passes, one for my car, one for my husband's. And I know when our Sun Pass updates and when they take money out of my account because I'm running low, right? What is a Sun Pass? Sun Pass is the little white box that you put in your vehicle that allows you to go through the turnpike and it bills you. It was a large block type. She should be able to log into her account and see all her transactions. You can buy a skin for your Sun Pass? Can you really do that? You can buy a skin for your Sun Pass? People have way too much to do. Really. I'm trying to find an older... There's the kind, I don't know when they put those on or what, I'd have to like look at it. But they had the kind where you can just have the little card from and you can't transfer them. So it's like a green card with a heavy sticker. Think like your registration sticker for your vehicle. And you put it in your Sun, but that one you cannot move from vehicle to vehicle. The kind I have is a white with suction cups you stick up. And that one can be moved from vehicle to vehicle. A Sun Pass is like an easy pass in other parts of the country. It just gets you on the toll road so that you can just drive through and you don't have to give money. But back in 2014, you could have given money to someone, right? It's not like you couldn't have dropped. Like I remember going to Leesburg, it was $1. And so they had the big coin thing and you drop the coin and it weighs the coins that are being dropped. And that's at the Okahumpka exit at the turnpike, which these guys stopped at Okahumpka. So you throw the money into the little coin thing and it weighs it and then it lifts the gate and then you can go past. Yeah, but what was it in 2014, Linda? Easy Pass is a sticker, but you can get a Sun Pass that's a sticker as well. You think your first instinct was wrong. It was a large one, not like the thin ones. You do get records. Like I have records from where mine was. So I could log into my SunPass now. Probably not, because I probably don't know the freaking login. Don't ask. I don't know any of my logins. Oh, it'll go in. Hold on. I'm pulling mine up. No, I have to forgot user password. And then it wants everything. Yeah, it wants. Hold on. My maternal grandmother's maiden name was. I don't know any of these things. Oh, it's let me in. Let me in. Don't pay attention to my typing patterns and know where I'm. Slow. Okay, so it has activity. How far does it go back? It only goes back 36 months on the website. It only goes back. That's good to know. So SunPass only goes back 36 months on the website. She did look rough. I did not use Patty Wilson for a password. I don't use words for passwords. I went to school to learn that. Now you can have SunPass connected to your bank account, or you can pay into it, pull of money, and take it out. That was what I was trying to describe. I guess I didn't do it well. But I'm like, wouldn't they know through her bank account with her SunPass in 2014, if she had all those bank records, what money went to SunPass? And if there was she didn't go to, talk about patterns, Rash Bomb. She didn't go to Tallahassee all the time, right? But say she took the turnpike to go to Charlie's, she would know how much that was. Couldn't you follow that financial patterning to figure out if she spent money on her SunPass? I don't know. Just asking. Cash was still an option in 14 and even after that. This is helping you pack. Just listening to channeling the energy of my voice. Aw. Packing's fine. It's unpacking that's horrible. Around her wealth, they can't bring it up without connected to a relevant argument. So they can bring it up saying, well, $100,000 was paid, which now we know Rashbaum didn't dispute it. He's stipulating to it. She did pay Catherine Magbanua, also stipulating. So there is a lot of money. And then the $1 million bribe is where she'll bring it up. Because the judge brings up, you can't use being an indigent against someone, so you can't use being wealthy against them. Fair play. So then it was, let's go to the next thing. So the money thing is done. Can't be just wealthy to be wealthy, like it's Murdaugh, right? So then it's courtroom 3B. I loved how the judge said, stop kissing my ass, basically. He said kissing my behind, or kissing up. Stop kissing up, he told Alex Morris. Which Alex Morris is like, see, what is it? Chairs 1, 8, and 9 can't really see. Well, they can't see anything in 3B because they don't have individual screens. They don't have the overhead screen. So whoever said it was 3B was the most technological. It's not. It is 3G. If Rashbaum admitted Donna was there giving Charlie moldy money while Katie was there the night of freaking out, this is a game changer. Well, I mean, I think we all need to go back and rehear it, but I know what I heard. Oh, I could do that. I could do a separate cybersecurity tip for you. But there it is. Yeah, he did say that. And the judge's face was like, did you just say that? It's like when your kids like accidentally tell on themselves and you're like, did you just tell me that you hit that mailbox and you didn't think you told me you hit the mailbox, but now you're saying you hit the mailbox? They have to get up at 3:34 a.m. to get to the trial. Yes, they do. Because I was a night shift nurse at the jail and I would give meds at the Leon County Jail. And my time to give so the people who were going to court got their pills, their morning pills first. And it was around 3:34. They were all lined up to get their pills. They can also bring the cost of Vietnam and a one-way ticket and an emergency visa. How much does that cost? Does anyone know how much is an emergency visa? $123. Not that much. So $206 to get an emergency visa. Her wealth goes to means when convicting, which is an important element. Money was moldy, probably saved since June hit, wrapped up in humidity. Yeah, it's disgusting. They can bring in the cost of Vietnam one-way tickets. He said, Rashbaum said a friend booked those tickets. So that'll be interesting. Like, let's see today, how much is a one-way ticket to Saigon? Do not look at this. Ho Chi Minh City. You know they were going first class, right? So first class. They weren't huffing it. They were going first class. Ho Chi Minh. $15,000. $15,000 to go to Ho Chi Minh City. Let's see. Let's go. No, let's do November, October. One way. 15,500. 15,500. One way. So $30,000 tickets. He laughed at him a couple times, didn't he, Debbie? Don't butter me up. That's what he said. Don't butter me up. Get to the point. $15,000. 15,500. And that doesn't account for any of the. So what airline did they use? They used like by way of Dubai. One is 28 hours, 3 stops, $20,000. LAX. Let's take it. They were at Miami, right? They were at Miami Airport. Crazy money. I don't think Donna was smart enough to use cash on the turnpike when her SunPass was used. She was only paranoid enough to wash the stapled money before heading over. She knew where she was going. She knew why she was going. They do have to do the motions to preserve the record, and Rashbaum mentions that in the beginning. This is for preservation, Judge. But it can come up in direct like it did with Charlie's trial where Wendy was asked about her parents' biz, pulling in over $1 million a year. And Wendy sat there on the stand and said they are not wealthy. They are not wealthy. They work very hard. They're not wealthy. They live in the continuum. They're paying $13,000 a month for me to live there in July 2014, but they are not wealthy. He's too hyper. He really is hyper. You call it a fast pass. Well, it is fast, and I love it. I wish we had more toll roads here in Florida, but we don't. Didn't they mention in the hearing Donna's wealth around having enough money to offer Dan $1 million in the email to Wendy to pay off Dan would allow Wendy and the boys to move to South Florida? Yes, the state did mention that. The state mentioned it. And Danielle didn't dispute it. You just can't say she's wealthy to say she's wealthy. I've had many lives. Well, I've had many jobs. I haven't had many lives. Luckily, I only have one life. Praise the Lord on that. Oof. But yeah, I worked agency nurse, so that's why all the jobs come up. Rashi didn't admit to Donna dropping off the 100. He said he admits 100,000 was paid that night at Charlie's house. But damn, Rashi, that's basically saying Donna dropped off the money. Yeah, he stopped just short of that, didn't he? Is Georgia allowed to bring up this TV instead of a hitman joke? Yeah, that was not under questioning. The question was about the children's. There was a thing about the children's names being changed. I don't even remember if that ever got fixed. She wanted to bring up the names being changed, the book. I want to know when. People keep asking. I get text messages from subscribers. When did Donna, when did Wendy register the boys for their new school? What day? What day was that school registration? I would love to know. Rashbaum speaks like a child. He never quite knows how to explain what he's trying to say and ends up saying that he shouldn't say. He really did to me. I mean, now we know why Wendy feigned ignorance about her parents' wealth. Haha, they were worried about the class bias. Yeah, you can't feign that, but then be like, everything in the world is a Latin king. I mean, it's one-way tickets to Vietnam are very expensive. Yeah, I just looked them up. And they were going first class. She's not getting in coach all the way to Vietnam. That's not happening. Never happening. I guess Rashbaum's argument is Donna did not drop off the payment. Patty, how much of Charlie's trial did you get to watch? I only missed Catherine Magbanua. That was it. I was there for the whole thing. Pretty sure. I missed Catherine Magbanua. I think I missed Catherine. I was there for Lewis. I was there for Hull. I was there for Corbett. I was there for all of those. And I missed the verdict, the most important thing. I was with Sunny, show subscriber. If we could all say a little prayer for her. She lost her, she probably won't be saying this on YouTube, but I'm going to say it anyway. Anyway, she lost a very close family member. Sunny did this week. So I checked in on her. But she's like, oh, we probably have time. The jury's having lunch, and then they'll start their deliberation. And then I get text message. I was already back at the office. Patty, you got to get back here. And then I just stayed. So I missed the verdict. Sucked. Business class. Maybe. I still think they went first class. Didn't Annie, the travel agency, book the tickets? Didn't Donna text that woman who booked? I don't remember what her name was. I was there every day, but I wasn't there all day. Like I think I missed a portion of Catherine's. Is what I missed. He is going to allow them to admit to bribing Dan with $1 million to move to Florida. He is. Chump change for the Adelsons. True. No, I was there for the majority of it, not just the select. Yeah, you'll see my head. So I wore like a cream colored top, I think most days. I didn't want to wear anything. My hair is enough. I didn't wear all this nondescript stuff is what I tried to wear, like solid colors. And I sat in the third row, I think it is, third row seat, kind of in the middle. But you'll see me kind of behind either Rashbaum or Georgia, kind of where I sat today, in the middle of that seat. everyone kind of took assigned seats. You know, the gallery, we were all kind of sitting in the same seat. Some people wanted to sit at the end. Some people wanted, I mean, there were times when I was like, I don't want to be seen. So I sat towards the wall and just sat there and listened, because then you could have a really good view of Charlie and watch Charlie during the trial. Just depends on where you were. The last day, I sat for a little bit on the left side, and I didn't like it. I didn't like sitting there because the defense side really blocks your view. The defense table really blocks your view of the witness stand, so you couldn't really see much on that side. But that's where Kitten Kool-Lady sat. And that's a lot of the time where mentor lawyer sat. He sat on the left side in the front. Donna had a note that Bree needed to pay back a $610 loan. Crazy. They were stopping in Dubai first. I know, but I can't pull that up. So I'm sure it was even. Just going straight to Dubai is $13,000 from Miami. It's a lot. It's a lot of money. I mean, they had the money. Could you see Rashbaum and Alex Morris having a fallout? No. Rashbaum looks very grateful for Alex Morris to be there. That's how I saw. Emirates. Thank you. Emirates. Just a really deep thought. Dan was on an early adapter and avid use of social media, and he loved his diverse friend group. I can imagine he would be pleased with the J for DM YouTube chat community. I can too. I mean, we learned so much about the law. I do in here. I do. Miami airport is terrible. Dude, how about when she was arrested? That was like the longest walk. Oh my God. And no one paid attention. There were very few people that turned around to see this old woman do the perp walk through the Miami airport. It was the $8 million plus property. According to Mary Hall in the last trial, I believe she said they were around $8 million, and then they owned the property. So it was $8 million in cash available to them. What are they getting on that first class flight for $15,000? A ride and food and unlimited drink? Yeah, the flight attendant's uniform. Remember, they were on there. Let's see. Miami to Dubai, Emirates. That looks like a great airline. I mean, I think that's the number one all the time. I think it's number one all the time because it's just so nice. One way. Economy. Let's do first class. 2. Search. Please choose a departure date. I'll just pick. Emirates. None of us spelled it right. It's Emirates. None of us spelled it. $30,000. Holy shizzle. For 2 passengers. So I was right. That's 15. And that's not including going on to Vietnam. Is ticket money refundable for commissary? No. I know it's far, but business class on SAS from San Francisco to Copenhagen is only $5,000 in the summer months. Yeah, well, Dubai is Dubai. I don't think I have a lot of opinion about that says They were just saying they were going to Vietnam, and they might have gone to Vietnam eventually, but they were going to be in Dubai for a bit. He will be objecting constantly. He is, I believe he has some appellate briefings through the state courts, the state Supreme Court. I do believe I saw that. Yeah. If they had taken a private jet, well, it wasn't the arriving at the airport that got them snagged. It was the person who called and said they're leaving. So it's the phone call that got them snagged. That's what got them snagged. That's why Pat Sanford flew down to Miami in a quick minute and got them off. Donna could have had a sun pass because she drives down to Tallahassee only to find Wendy back, especially after Dan's murder, except for the fact that Harvey's the one who drove. Harvey drove Donna. He didn't like for Donna to drive alone. Morris was much more polished arguing in court. Yeah, he keeps his hands to himself. So if you want to see as polished as his suit was nicer, that's for sure. He wears the cufflinks. I always check. Like he had the nice cufflinks on, which I think is smart. He has nicer shoes. He just dresses differently than Rashbaum. Rashbaum's a plain dresser. And he stands there and his hands, he'll do a thing like here where one arm kind of goes, but he doesn't put both arms up, which I think could be disconcerting. I really work on that myself when I'm speaking in front of people, is to not, I always have my hands, I put my hands behind my back when I have a client and I'm standing. I don't put them in front because I think it can look very aggressive. Just depends on who you're speaking to. If that's what it costs to get to Asia business class, I'm never going to Asia. Well, I only looked up first class, so let me check on business. I did, let's do business class. Well, there's premium economy. Well, there you go. I'm not going to that one either because I'm not spending 55 million hours in an airport. It's just never happening. Okay, let's do November. What was it? November 10th, the girl wasn't, let's say November 12th. One way, 2 tickets, Miami business class. Business is 18 for 2 people. And 33,000 depending on the time you leave during the day. They have like 3 flights out a day. 3 flights. Who is paying all that? And a first class suite on Air Emirates is even nicer. Well, didn't even give me that option. Next time I travel abroad, I'm going to cruise ship it. I can't afford a business or first class. No way I'm flying coach. I really want to go to Scotland for Christmas this year, and I just cannot bring myself to fly. I mean, I got to find a way to get there without 3 flights. My friends who went to Dublin for the FSU Georgia Tech game, I mean, they're like, Patty, well, they left out of Tallahassee. Big mistake to me. So you're going to Tallahassee, to Atlanta, to New York, to Dublin. I don't want to do that. I don't want 3 flights. I don't want to worry about 3 flights or think about 3 layovers or get my luggage off for 3 flights. I just don't want to do it. So I got to rethink it. It was 33,000 in a month's notice. Let's pretend they're leaving next week. So I'll change it back because she made it such a quick time. Let's do Miami to Dubai. And we'll do, what's today? August 30th. So we'll do leaving on the 13th, one way, 2 tickets. We'll just give it like a week's notice because they didn't really have, they paid premium if they did it, depending on when the tickets were ordered. Does anyone know the time frame? I mean, I would think doing that so quickly would have been even more expensive, right? When you pay a premium to do those things. It's a lot of money. I leave a week later. I just did 2 weeks. $45,000. $45,000 to leave in 2 weeks. Holy shizzle. Almost $50,000. I hope they bring up the cost of the ticket because I think that is relevant. The cost of the ticket is $45,000 to 2 people to leave in 2 weeks. Whew. Well, thank you, Jesus Lover, for catching a live. That's very nice of you. It was like 8 days. So I did 2 weeks out, $45,000. Holy shizzle. I can't even, I just wouldn't spend that. Well, I'm not trying to escape the law either. So there's that. These ticket prices are astounding. They are. They bought the tickets the night after Charlie was convicted around 10. So it was like 2 days. It was like a 2-day thing. How did they, do you know how quickly they got the emergency visa? So I'll say September 4th one way. That's 4 days. Absolutely astounding. $50,000 to leave in 5 days. So you have to figure it had to be around that amount. Oh, well, thank you, Deanna. I'm sure it was like, I'm sure whatever tranquilizer she was on eased the pain of the price. Yeah, she did look kind of stoned then. Someone said Boone got a lawyer. I don't know. I wonder who it is. She retains a self-defense attorney. Hold on. And now she wants a continuance. Right there. Where'd it go? There we go. She's no longer representing herself. The defense filed a motion requesting a continuance of the 3-week jury trial as she retains her attorney. She's met with the attorney 4 times in August. According to the motion, the evidence reportedly includes photos, blah, blah, blah. Who's her attorney? James Owens out of Milton, Florida, which is near Pensacola. James Owens. Never heard of him. Oh, Singapore Airlines is number 1. Good to know. I'm never getting on that one either. After staying in Vietnam with a visa, 3 months, you're supposed to go return back to your country. Those are the questions, my friend. Nah. I sent her a list of questions to ask her about travel to Vietnam. She said it's super cheap once you're there. So I asked her about the villa price, and she said that is very expensive. Everything is super cheap in Vietnam. Your tours are finished. Great. Looks like we get massively charged. We know. Don't leave out of Tallahassee to go anywhere. Tallahassee makes it double everything. It's insane. Insane leaving out of this airport. They were willing to pay that much to take a last-minute vacation one way. So let's see if there was anything else before I let you go. It's 2:40. Before I stopped taking notes because I was like, I just need to stare at Donna's face. I did. I said she looks utterly miserable. That's what I wrote. She looked utterly miserable, which she needs to. That's what jail says. The judge said, well, jail's supposed to suck. That's what he said. It's so funny. So, okay, regards to the phone calls, the jail phone calls, he said some of it's hearsay, like the, what was hearsay? Charlie saying that the food sucks is hearsay, but the rest of it is context. And he thinks for the most part, Charlie's voice recordings on the jail calls will be in. That's what I got out of it. I wrote, is Alex Morris serious? That's what I wrote. She nods a lot when talking about the Vietnam villa with what Daniel Rashbaum and Alex Morris were saying. She did not like what Georgia had to say about Vietnam at all. The consciousness of guilt. I think that's it. Because at the end, I was like, I just can't stop looking at her. Like, I took all these notes, and in the end, I was like, I honestly could not stop looking at Donna Adelson. I was just, how could she sit there and not have me like it was right in her face? Because she knew she couldn't do it. I wonder how she's paying for the attorney. That's what I want to know. I'm just going to leave this up here because it's the truest thing ever. We are raped in regards to airline tickets here. You can go from Dublin to Italy for like $50, and we can't go from Tallahassee, Florida to Miami, Florida without paying $1,000. I mean, it is outrageous, the cost. Hi, Gert. Thank you for your email, by the way. The recording said the emergency visa would only be submitted once a ticket was purchased. Thank you. Is that how much Charlie pays to go to Vietnam? Is he paying $15,000? I don't know what the one-way. I don't know what the round trip ticket was. I didn't look. But yeah, you're paying. You're paying a lot. No way the judge grants Boone a continuance. I don't think so either. I don't think so. Let's see. What's he look like? James Owens. Hope he has a big, oh, he's a young guy. He's a young guy. With a family, poor guy. He's screwed. I guess this is James Owens with his family. Beautiful family. Hope he took the fall off. I know. I thought so too, Jill. When I saw that, I thought so too. I was like, a mentor lawyer did it. Mentor wasn't at the thing today. As cheap as the Adelsons have proven themselves to be, that was not a vacation. Well, they paid $13,000 a month for a condo when they had a house in Miami for their daughter to live in. That's a lot of money. And he didn't bring that up. Rashbaum did not bring up the condo, that lease and the amount of money that was being spent. I'm not going to Dubai. I might show too much skin or something. I'm not going there. Not that I show a lot of skin, but you know what I'm saying. Lawyer was the one who asked for 3 weeks, but I don't think it's happening. And that's for Sarah Boone. But I'm not going to miss that one either. That's a train wreck. They can only stay for 30 days with a visa for Dubai upon arrival at the airport. Good to know. Can they extend that, Kathleen? Rashbaum was arguing the Vietnam villa was secured and paid for to Scott Radius, and yet it was Scott Radius who tipped law enforcement off about Donna Adelson. Donna absconding. Oh, I haven't heard that word in a long time. Absconding. When will I be on next? Probably Sunday afternoon. Probably Sunday afternoon, Brady. Staycation, I know. What was the sidebar at the end? I wish I knew, but it was long. You should read the IMS reports from jail. They were filed on the docket. Boone is getting pissy with the jail now. I guess it's because she has an attorney and doesn't need jail personnel to play nice. You wonder what score Rashbaum gave Donna. She was caught on tape saying she needs a non-extradition country. That is true. So where's the best channel? Where's the best channel to get the Boone information? Shaming of Jay does a lot for Sarah. He does it. I have to work. I know in between all of this, I have to work. But I know that Jay does a lot of Sarah Boone. I don't know who else. I think 13th Juror did a lot, which you may or may not like that she was free Karen Reed. So I don't know if you'll like that, but I don't know. But Sarah Boone, I think there's going to be a lot of people that'll jump on that train wreck. Donna's neck. Thank you. Thank you. I thought so too. I thought her neck looked crazy. Take a cargo ship. It's a great way to travel. I don't think you know me very well. They up doing that. I took a cargo plane to Asia once with the Air Force, and that's enough. That was enough. Why does a judge keep? I don't know why they keep allowing. Because not every judge is Judge Everett. He's flat out said it's never an issue till it's an issue, and we're not having any issues. Would round way tickets been in cheaper and looked innocent? Likely. Donna's telling Rashbaum that the judge and Sarah and Georgia are being unfair to Donna. They're being prejudiced against Donna, like they said. Of course she is. I mean, that's her job, is to protect herself. In 2019 trial, didn't Wendy say her parents were in Coral Gables? Yes, they did. And that's part of my description of what that lease meant. So Donna wouldn't have passed Charlie's house if that was their story. But I don't believe that. I don't believe that's where she was. She could have left from Tamarack. I mean, it could have been a variety of places she left from. Mentor lawyer said on his video that he's no longer practicing. He's retired. No, he's retired from defense work. I think he does like injury kind of law now. Mentor lawyer went to see Sarah. I thought he saw her and she refused his visit, then became agitated because she didn't get to see him because she had been in contact with him and was expecting his visit. She's just nuts, so. Ooh, thank you. Let me know, Roberta, please, please, please. Did everyone see that? Roberta's going to try and clean up the audio and listen to the sidebar. Thank Thank you, Tennis. Oh, Jay was also free Karen Reed. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know. How was our dinner last night? It was nice. We had a lot of giggles. Well, mainly because we just laugh. I mean, I laugh at everything. So I'm just a good date. Like, I laugh at everything. But we were just sitting. So we met at TGI Fridays, which here in Tallahassee is no longer in business. And they gutted the building and put in a walk-on. So we were driving around after we left Table 23, which is a local restaurant. And it's very nice. It is, but it's mainly outdoor. And it started to get hot after the rain. And I was like, this, and I don't eat kale. And I don't care what you put on the kale. I'm not eating kale. But the drink was good. I had a beer at Fat Tire. And so I was like, oh, let's go to walk-ons. Chris had never been. And that's where we met and we started dating. So that was really nice. It was really nice that I remembered that. I was really happy. And of course, I see people I know, which was fine. I mean, I'm dressed appropriately and my face and hair are done. I've really had to come to grips with that. Like, I have to have my face done. I either have to look completely unlike me and have no face on and no hair, or have it all on. But I tend to just put some makeup on and go out. But back, like, I'd say, well, before I lost weight, I just went out like raw faced, and because you don't feel good when you're fat and you just don't want to. I thought Jake came in your chat on your podcast about Garen and was against her. No, I don't remember. I don't know. I don't know what side of the road he's on, but I do enjoy listening to him. I just think he's funny. Oh, he did? I would love to hear what they're saying, Roberta. Get me in that. Did Chato and Tuto really see Wendy at Danny's home? I don't know. I think a lot of that's going to be the two witnesses from the children's daycare and the daycare schedule, which we know is coming into evidence. So we'll know more then. Interesting that this woman comments on people's looks. I think you mean me, and I do, but I comment on myself, Mia. So welcome to the channel where I try to be as self-deprecating as I am deprecating. If trying to forgive all the free Karen Reed silliness on the channels I like, I'm pushing it from my mind. Aw. Oh, yeah, no one puked at the table last night. Some of these lawyers aren't necessarily in the free Karen Reed movement. They're recognizing flaws in the case and able to see less bias because it's their job. Well, I'm not an attorney, so I don't have to worry about that. Hi, Patty. I follow the Sarah Boone case and I just watched Lawyer You Know. Yeah, he's another one. I know people like him a lot. I do know that. Thank you, Lori. It's very nice of you. Roberta, Mentor Lawyer, has a stream that you can tweak for sidebar. It's the same stream he tweaks. Nice. Oh, troll alert. Well, I'm still going to respond to it. So I do. I comment on people's looks. I commented on Alex Morris's suit. I comment on whether he raises both arms or one arm. I love his cufflinks. He's got fabulous glasses. Like, I do compliment people. So I think if you're willing to compliment, you know, this isn't 8th grade, people. It's not 8th grade or 4th grade. We all comment on Donna's looks. I thought the state had evidence the kids were at school when Tato said they saw. I don't know. I mean, they were supposed to be at school, but Wendy does say, thank you for that, allowing me to reflect on that. Wendy does say when they miss the kids, they do go get them and take them for themselves. So she does say that in her questioning. Thank you, Tennis. Not when you look like her. She has no right commenting on someone's appearance when you look like her. My eye roll. Can you see it? Do you think Wendy will hire Rashi? She won't be allowed to. She won't be allowed to hire him. I don't think the judge is going to look at that anymore. They are on ass. Oh, they are an ass patty. It's fine. I gasped. I was in the media room and I was like, oh my God. And then the guy from WCTV, his arm was in front of the camera when they were setting up the pool. And I was like, move your arm. Nice shirt, by the way. He had a nice shirt on. But I was like, move your arm. I couldn't believe it. You made one comment about Karen Reed's thigh-high boots in court and never heard the end of it. I find it entertaining. I mean, most of the trolls to me are entertaining. Tennis Girl says, I deleted that. I tried, y'all, but Patty likes to tell them off herself. I do. I think people need to learn how to handle a troll. And I mean, just in life in general. You know, I have this big Facebook group here locally, which is like a lot of people anymore. It's just big is not always better. Okay. And it's like 65,000. It's like 1,000 a week. It's growing. And people are like, he was mean to me. I'm like, how old are you? You're on Social Security. You can't take someone that you don't even know, that you've never met, that you never will meet. Someone who says something that's not even like against Facebook violation, and you can't handle it. I just think how far I've come because my God. Yeah, she doesn't really show her face. That could be anyone behind that screen. Oh, oh, sorry. I forgot. The suitcase nutcase attorney. Bless his heart, though. Hopefully he's getting paid. Does she have any money to pay people? Does she have any money? Does Sarah Boone have any money? Anyone? She couldn't possibly. She lived in an apartment. Yeah, Roberta, you should tell him to screw off too. Make me an admin, Roberta. I'll go tell him to screw off. Agree, Patty. We all need to be able to let a troller be an ass. They expose themselves. I know and sometimes I've in real life, I've had trolls that are very entertaining. I think he is pro bono. Hey, Patty. Where is it? Hey, Patty. Where? It's jumping. My screen's jumping. SKR has a video of Sarah Boone and Jorge domestic violent arrests in 2018. She's a piece of work. Found this today. She is broke. The court gave Boone $10,000. Well, that ain't enough. I know. I keep thinking that. I mean, I think she had a hard time sitting next to Rashbaum today. And let alone watching Georgia just hone in. She was she was like eagle eye. And I don't think she's going to handle it at all. First of all, we know how she feels about Rob. She hasn't seen him or probably spoken to him in 10 years. And then Charlie and Wendy, it's just going to be a lot. Boone has no money and stated so in her wanted ad. Yeah, we'll be admins. Donna thinks she's behaving as she keeps her mouth shut, but it just made her eyes 10 times more alive. I know. Her eyes were like this. Thank you, Hollywood. Thank you. Holy crap. MD reinstated Adnan Syed. Conviction. Wow. Wow. Good. That was weird. Some of these courts are just bizarre. Morris kept his physical distance from Donna and Rash. He was on the edge of the table, but he didn't. He was very close to Donna. Very close. Not a lot of touching. Like, he didn't do that. But whenever she would, like, let out a gasp or a smirk or something, he definitely leaned towards her, and then she would stop. I'll have to watch the video from the front because I could only see from the side. But she said Donna pointed to her paper of something she wrote down and then rolled her eyes. I'll have to look at that. I know. I remember that. I watched this thing. Pull it up, Patty. Oh, my God. Okay, here you go. Maryland Supreme Court was upheld an appellate court's decision to reinstate the murder conviction of Adnan Syed. The case, sorry about this. You know, I got to go to the reader version. Hold on. You can't even watch anything anymore for all the ads. Even for my monetization, I don't even monetize for like 2 days because I don't want to deal with it. The case gained national attention in 2014 when in the first season of the Serial podcast. The ruling also says the case should be sent back to a lower court for a new hearing on whether it should be thrown out entirely. The decision reverses a lower court's ruling that could clear Syed name 2 years ago. Justices found the circuit court violated the rights of young Lee, brother of the murdered Hai Min Lee. Hai Min Lee family argued the rights were violated on this basis and they were not given appropriate notice to attend the proceedings in person. In an effort to remedy, they were perceived to be an injustice to Mr. Syed. The prosecutor in the circuit court worked on an injustice against Mr. Lee. The ruling returns the case to its status before Baltimore judge threw out his conviction and released him from prison. He served more than 20 years from 1999 murder of his ex-girlfriend, Ha Min Lee. Interesting. I always just go to the images because that's how Donna was dressed today. See this? That's what she had around her waist, those heavy chains. She really struggled to move in the chair. Yep. Welcome to the rest of your life, Buttercup. Aww. Yes, I'm crying. This has been an emotional one. Interviewed the Lee's family lawyer after the farce that let him out. This is huge. Trash. When Donna had to put her glasses on with cuffs, she was pissed. She was trying to hide for the camera. Yeah, she was. Roberta, I was so upset a corrupt DA let him out. It's constant though. I don't know how people function in New York in these towns. I really don't. I don't know how you function. Like, how do you function in a society where someone like that is set free? I just don't understand it. A 4-3 ruling came nearly a year after the court heard arguments in October. He was convicted in 2000 of killing his ex-girlfriend. after she was found strangled to death in an unmarked grave. And he was initially sentenced to life in prison plus 30 years. The panel said Syed was 17 when he arrested, is now 43, can remain free in the case, heads to a lower court judge to determine again whether his conviction can be tossed. That was old. He'll be afforded new reasonable notice, Mr. Lee would, sufficient to provide Mr. Lee with a reasonable opportunity to send a hearing in person. The doctrine of mootness was designed to prevent judicial necromancy. Lord have mercy. Well, thank you, Wesley. That is very kind. I love Oktoberfest too, and I will have a beer in your honor today. Donna looked depressed and down, but she stayed quiet. Do you think Rashbaum and Alex Morris talked to her? Absolutely. Absolutely. You will be going live as soon as I read the decision. He was teaching at Georgetown. Absolutely. They have coached her. That's what I call it. They have coached her to calm down. Absolutely. And every time she got animated or went, then someone moved to remind her you're being watched and you need to calm down. They do need to make eye contact, but they can't. He's got to work. Wendy's going to look like her mom before she knows it. Jay pointed it out. Her eyes were wrong. Her eyes were definitely wrong. I guess Syed should have gone to Vietnam. I mean, nobody expected this. I didn't expect this. Roberta, did you expect it if you're still on there? Rashbaum came off as Alex's student, yeah. But one is more used to like a homicide. I mean, Alex Morris has done a lot of murders this year. He's had a lot of murder cases. He says, how embarrassing was Kashi's behavior from Morris? They're total opposites. I was going to fall asleep to him. I thought someone was snoring. I'm not going to lie. So when they were up on their sidebar, I thought I heard snoring. So I don't know if it was Donna, bailiff. I'm not quite sure. He did say he loves Donna like a mama. He's allowed to remain free and teach at Georgetown until it goes back to court. Oh, it isn't easy, but I do make a choice to not turn on monetization for any lives for like 2 days because I don't. I just don't. I don't know why I've decided to do that. It's just I have. It's pronounced hey. Oh. Oh, thank you. Her name. Thank you. People were commenting on her ears. Well, they're large. Her ears are large. I don't care how you pronounce the killer's name. Thank you. Thank you. Wow. It was a fraud that got him out. Innocence fraud campaign totally. One of the new suspects that released Syed was Syed. They must have new evidence and compelling of that. I got some SS of Donna today that are funny. She was making faces all the time and trying to hide. She didn't realize we can rewind. And I couldn't really see it, so I've got to watch the video tonight before I go to bed. out of prison and teaching with another formerly convicted killer, Marty Tankleff, at Georgetown. I can't imagine paying that kind of money and sending my kids to one of those schools. I just can't. Like, I heard you talk, Roberta, about the Weather Underground. I think it was yesterday or the day before. I can't imagine. All these people are teaching in these universities, teaching this horrific stuff. It's just unbelievable. You had no idea. Thanks for the work you're doing on the innocence fraud. Wasn't even in my vocabulary, right? You can't function. It's chaos. So much crime. It's crazy. Yeah, my business partner, Scott, went up. He had clients that have co-ops. And so he'll go dress up the co-ops and redesign them and make them beautiful and buy the furniture and do everything in there. And I first of all, he has not had New York style pizza yet, which is very disturbing to me. And then second of all, I'm like, dude, how are you handling? You're like, he's a gay guy. Like, he's 6 foot, he's trim, but dude, you're a target. And I tell him that. I'm like, you are a target. But so far, he's been okay. Teaching anywhere. This man shouldn't be allowed to teach anywhere. Georgetown doesn't care. It doesn't care anymore. He's working at the legal clinic in Georgetown in your city. Oh, Yallah. Or let Shannon Brigger, I'm going to ruin her name, from Jacksonville. They're trying to give her the death penalty. Donna had a wide metal band around her left wrist. Yes, it's called a cuff, like a handcuff. And they have they're like triple locked now. It's not like the old fashioned handcuffs. When Kashi was talking about the amount of time this AM, I just kept thinking about the Markells and the nonstop trials, and he's whining about the staleness of it, right? Doesn't he mention the staleness? Donna was voting hung. Oh, this is I didn't do it. I don't know how the phone, which is currently in my pocket, was at the murder scene. I've never been there, or actually I was there all the time. Oh, wait, no. I'm going to read that again because I started giggling. Oh, this is the quote. I didn't do it. I don't know how the phone, which is currently in my pocket, was at the murder scene. I've never been there, or actually I was there all the time. Oh, wait, no. It's like the cause hearing that Judge Everett had prior to Donna's hearing. And the guy's like, Judge. And I didn't know he was a defendant in a crime. I was talking to the guy out in the hallway. And he's like, well, all these people are here. The media's here. I'm like, yeah, there's a murder hearing. So he goes up and he goes, Judge, I had my teeth pulled. And he goes, Judge Everett was basically said, doctors don't prescribe cocaine. And that's what you had in your system. It's so funny. They have they have to redo the hearing on the bogus new evidence. I don't think that will go well. The DNA on Hae Min Lee's shoes and a witness implicating Adnan. Our Ivy Leagues have really gone off the rails. They have really, 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 really gone off the rails. I don't even understand it. Donna was blinking a lot. Yeah, she did an eye flutter. It's like Philly was safe back in the 80s, but now, whew. I know that you disagree, but they don't prescribe it. They just don't. Unless she's on an antipsychotic, they don't prescribe it. You can't even get a psychiatrist really to see you. Like, even when Donna was in, her treatment at the jail situation, it's like a nurse practitioner for the psychiatrist. They don't really show up. You're not getting any medication. It's the same ruling from the same court, 4-3, that affirmed his guilt in 2018. So says Roberta. No, I was not able to read her planner. I was on the other side. Donna was too focused on Georgia to be tired, right? She was eagle-eye on Georgia Kappelman. I got quite a few negative comments and unsubscribes from mentioning that Chasey Boudin is a Weather Underground convicted killer's son, but he is. And Wendy's friend worked with him, Sarah Youssef. But Boudin, I remembered that when you brought up the recall. I mean, he was a horrible state attorney. I thought we had it bad with Willie Meggs, but my God, that man didn't want to try anything. Rash was clean shaved for Donna. I was really surprised about that. He's teaching. He's not teaching. He's working in the legal clinic. Well, Roberta, I just think you need to keep on keeping on. I don't worry about it. I mean, he was. I mean, it's just a fact of DNA. Like, I've been working on the Adelson family tree for a while now, and woo, she's got a lot of money in that family. And the whole thing about the Best Buy phone, it's all bad. They try to do the same thing with that man who did all his kids in Atlanta and put them in the river. I know. He leads classes to investigate innocence of convicted killers. That's his understanding. Rashbaum cannot pass her a piece of candy. No, he cannot. I believe Donna would have to be medicated. She looks like a mood disorder. She suffers from anxiety and mental health issues. Well, I don't know that, and I'm not a doctor. I've been waiting to hear your reaction. Hey, Shelly, I've been on here for a while. I got to go. I'm sorry. I got to go. But this has been fun. I really appreciate it. And does people forget who Bill Ayers was? See, they don't really teach history in schools anymore, do they? Bill Ayers is a bomber. I mean, he bombed a building. He bombed a courthouse, right? They don't teach it anymore. So you don't know who these people are. And then you have to fight to get the knowledge out. So anyway, have a great weekend, everybody. I should be on Sunday. If anything changes in the meantime, let me know. Send me a note. Send me a message. I really appreciate them. Have a great weekend. Happy Labor Day to all you union workers, because that's really what it's for. I'm not a union worker. I got to work. Oh, no, they cannot bring treats into the courtroom. They can't give her anything. Remember? I mean, even if you remember with the jury selection, they couldn't, like, Kawas could not give Catherine Magbanua a pen of her own. Can't give them anything. You're not allowed. They have water. That's it. So I know people forget, but they're in jail for a reason, because they're a danger to society. And when you have a murder charge against you in the state of Florida, it's automatic no bail. So you guys have a great weekend. Enjoy. I don't even know what to say. Keep on keeping on. Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.